Hey everybody, and welcome back to Adventures with Dice. I'm Rob and I'm your host, and today we're going to be taking a look at a game or a game add-on, as it were, from Dungeon Professor over at Dungeon Craft called Deathbringer. And this is a little pamphlet you can buy from him for $3.99, I think it is, off of DriveThruRPG. And it is basically a little add-on or set of rules to any OSR fantasy set of rules, or even 5th edition D&D, that you can use to add a grimdark flair to your game. Now, he did a video on this, I think it was a few days ago, or at least I watched it a few days ago, where he goes through the entire thing and explains exactly how everything works. So I'm not going to rehash and redo all that here. I'm just going to hit the highlights and suggest that you go check his video out. I was very impressed with this. I thought it sounded really cool, and I was like, $3.99, why not? So in the PDF, you get this double-sided sheet right here, okay? And it's a trifold or difold set of rules. This is all you need. You just add this to whatever set of rules you're wanting to play with. And basically what it does is it strips down the system to bare bones, and it makes it really, really fast. Like, you still have your strength, dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, but you don't have like a 3d6 roll of 3 to 18 for each of those stats. You have 8 points that you can put into there, into the stats. You can put up to +6 when you're creating the character, and it can't go below 0. And you're basically just putting the bonus in there. So if I have a +3 in strength, then I have a +3 strength bonus, and that makes me proficient in, melee damage, lifting, bending, carrying, and I would add that to any of those kind of rolls that I make. You add it to weapon attacks and damage. Dexterity adds to your defense, missile attacks and damage, stealth, climbing, lockpicking, acrobatics. Constitution adds to your save versus poison. You can carry items equal to your con +10. For each day of rest, you regain hit points equal to your con bonus. And however, note that the con bonus does not add to your hit points. So this is a straight hit die system. Whatever you roll on your hit dice, that's how many hit points you got. Intelligence, it adds to spellcasting. History, knowledge, +1 indicates literacy. Wisdom, it adds to mind-based saving throws, searching, perception, and tracking. And charisma adds to reaction checks, charm, deception, intimidation, performance, and persuasion. And it's really pretty elegant the way it works. Outside of that, you have very simplistic rules that cover combat, spells. You don't have alignment. You have a corruption from 1 to 10. The more bad stuff you do, the more corrupt you get. You have how your healing works. You have critical miscast table, weapons, armor, a kill shots table, and how you improve your character over time. And for spells and monsters, you simply import them from whatever OSR game you're playing, or from 5th edition, and use them as is. And as the game master for a Deathbringer game, you get to choose what spells are available. Like, the implied setting here is that the wizard or the Grimscribe character, when they find a spell, they can find any spell and cast it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a wizard spell, druid spell, cleric spell. Any spell they find, they can cast, but they first have to tattoo it on their bodies. And wizards are outlawed and hunted, so the more spells you have, the more recognizable you become to witch hunters. Now, whether you want to use that in your game or not is entirely up to you. It does make it very grimdark, and I like that. You also have the Deathbringer dice. You get 1 Deathbringer dice, which is a d6 at every level. And they can do neat stuff like add a d6 to any d20 roll, inflict an additional d6 of damage on a successful hit, absorb the d6 damage. So, like, if, I say you hit that monster and you got 4 Deathbringer dice there, you can chuck all 4 of them if you want to add extra damage to your attack. Let's see. It does have character classes built into it, but you don't really have to use them. You could just do whatever classes you want to. But these are all themed around a grimdark fantasy. So you have the Deathbringer, which is your fighter. You have the Grimscribe, which is like your wizard. You have the Scoundrel, which is like your thief. You have the Witch Hunter, which is kind of like a cleric slash fighter. And then your Plague Doctor, who really does your healing. And it has a really neat chart in here for your background. There is no huge 3-page background for your characters. You simply roll a d20 on the background and a d20 on the random misery. Put them together, and that's what your character is. For example, you could be a farmer who is framed for a crime. You could be a performer who owes someone money. You could be a soldier that was betrayed by a loved one. There's just a whole bunch of them. I really like that. I'm probably going to start using that in all of my fantasy games. I just like that background generator for it. And then the last page of it comes with a miniature character sheet, which is great for younger people, but for old people like me, the PDF comes with a full-size character sheet that you can print out. And this is what I will be using. Now, what do you use this with? For me, I would take this. I probably would not use this with DCC because DCC already has so many special subsystems built into it, and it also has a grimdark feel to it anyway because of how lethal it is and how corrupting magic can be. But what I would use it for, definitely not 5th ed because I don't like 5th ed, but I would use it for white box. I would use it for basic fantasy. I would use it for OSE. Any of those games that give you the generic D&D experience from, the days of old. You can simply slap this on it, pull the monsters and spells from that game, and then you've got yourself a grimdark game with this, and it's really, really good. Now, I do suggest you go watch his video because he goes into a lot more detail in his video about Deathbringer and about how everything works, and I don't really want to take away from that. Dungeon Professor seems like a really nice guy. I've never met him or talked to him personally, but I do like his work on this stuff. I haven't watched any of his videos on 5th ed stuff because I just don't care about 5th ed, but I have started watching a lot of his other videos. And this really caught my attention because I like the lethal, grim, dark fantasy. That and Gothic fantasy are my favorites. In fact, that might be kind of cool to couple this with a replay of Ravenloft using white box or basic fantasy. That could be kind of neat. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. If you like dark fantasy, grim dark, like old world Warhammer fantasy style stuff, this is really, really cool. And for $3.99, you can't beat it. And it's so system neutral that it's so easy to slap onto any OSR rule set that you like. It's really worth getting. It really is. I like it a lot, and I can't wait to experiment with this. Probably going to do some one-shot stuff with it just to have some fun with my group and try it out. But I also picked up his Eldritch Hack, which is his rules-like Call of Cthulhu system. And I was kind of blown away. It was more than I thought it was going to be, not price-wise, it's $5.99. But there's a lot more to it than I thought. It's really well done. And I'm going to do a separate video on it and kind of compare it to my favorite system for Call of Cthulhu, which is actually not Call of Cthulhu, the role-playing game. But yeah, if you like that grim, dark style fantasy, you can't go wrong with Deathbringer. It's $3.99. Pick it up, print it out, hand it to your players one night. If you got a group of guys and gals that have basic fantasy or OSE or white box or something, these books are pretty cheap. OSE's not, but the other ones are. If you got a bunch of these books laying around, boom, you got something to pull monsters from. And you don't even really have to let your players have the book, as long as one of you has it, because you as the game master decide what spells they find, because there is no going to the magic shop and buying spells and all the time. You have to go out and adventure, and you have to go find old tomes and scrolls and things and find these spells and then tattoo them on you so that you can cast them. So you, as the game master, control what spells they find. So if you have a spell that you think is too powerful, don't let them find it. Simple as that. But yeah, I highly recommend this. If you don't like grimdark, if you like more high-end, high fantasy, adventure fantasy, this is probably not the game for you. But this is a fantastic little add-on if you like grimdark fantasy. I can't say enough about it. Dungeon Professor, you did a fantastic job on this. I know Runehammer did the layout on it, fantastic on that as well. I am very, very impressed. I can't remember the last time I've been so happy that I spent $4 on something. That's all I've got on that. If you have tried Deathbringer, or if you pick it up and then try it, come back and put in the comments what you thought about it, because I really like it and I want to hear what everybody else thinks. Until next time, my friends, good gaming and good luck.